Hi, this is Katie Stocks with Happy Hearted Watercolors, back with part 2 of composition using bottles. We have dried our blue bottle, and I've done a few little touch-ups with the yellow ochre on the amber bottle. I darkened in the back rim of the back side of the bottle, and I started the little shadow over here, showing roundness. Okay, so now we're ready to start the next bottle, again with a glaze, and I've chosen to use alizarin crimson. I love alizarin crimson. It's a cool color of red, meaning it leans more towards the blue color rather than a warm red, which would lean more towards yellow. So here's my alizarin crimson, pretty well diluted down. Again, this is a glaze on white paper. Now, some people say you need, for a glaze, you need to have one color on top of another, but I'm being very loose with that. To start out with, let's go ahead and wet down our paper like I did before. Again, moving through the picture. And I'm going to cover over this shine right here. There's a shine here that I'm going to just leave after the first glaze. I'm going to leave that white by avoiding that area. I did that same technique right here. You'll notice how light it is. And I'd penciled it in, and I put the paint almost near the edge, but not quite at the edge. And I'll eventually erase that pencil line. And I purposely didn't cover it because I don't want the pencil line to show through. So here we go with our red bottle. And I'll need to make sure I do this little part of the red bottle, not the cork. And tipping the board up, I can tell if I've covered all the areas of the cork, of the board. I was looking at this cork here, trying to think, should I cover over it right here where the bottle is laying over the top of the cork inside the bottle? And I think yes. So as I go over here, I'm going to notice that changes the color a little bit again, looking more like that. This one bottle is, the red bottle is standing in front of the blue bottle. Sometimes if you pick your brush up too quickly, it will make a little splatter, so I want to be careful. And I'm noticing that this paper is not responding like my Arches watercolor paper, so I must have grabbed an inferior kind of paper. And what I'm noticing is, see how these the little texture marks are happening there? But I'm going to go with that because maybe a bottle would have some texture to it like that. Okay, I'm going to leave this to dry. But first, I'm going to take and make it a little darker red because I want to add a little more red to the edge of this bottle. And notice since it's wet, it's going to spread out, but I really want to catch this one area here so that when we take off the masking fluid, it has the red on the outside, so we can really tell that that's a shine on the bottle. And my paint was wet enough that it quite nicely pulled the paint, the water pulled the paint out. Boy, I really don't like this paper. When I was teaching in person, I would trade people paper for paper so that they would have the good quality stuff and not get frustrated. Of course, then I ended up with paper and wasn't very smart about marking it because I didn't always know what it was. Could have been good stuff. Or I could have been pleasantly surprised and learned a new kind of paper. All right, so what I wanted to do here was to work a little bit on this paint, this bottle, while this was drying a little bit. Now to create a rounded look, what you need to do is darken the outside edge of whatever it is you're using and then blend it back into your work. And one of the rules that I've learned, and again, a rule is something that needs to be broken, but you need to know why you're breaking it. One of the rules that I have for myself is that if you add water to one part of your painting, or add paint to one part of your painting, you need to add paint to all of the painting. So in order, I'm going to add paint to all the painting, so I'm going to erase that line so that I don't have the pencil line showing. Now some pencil lines add to the structure of your painting and really are a part of the composition. So I just took my yellow ochre, dabbed it into my pot, transferred some of it onto my lid of my paint pot, and then now I'm going to see what it looks like because it's really, really a little more intense than my original work here. And I just wanted to mention also, when you're making a nice straight line, breathe in as you're going or out, and it will make your line be straighter. Don't ask me why. It just does. Breathing is a good thing. Notice this shine is still holding on. It's not going to be the sharp shine that was in this other part, but I wanted to try two different ways so you could see the differences. This one will be a softer shine, whereas where we've used the masking fluid, it'll be a sharper line, and I'll show you later how to smooth that in so that your lines aren't quite so sharp. And again, since I've got water right here, like I was just saying, what I mean when I say I have to get the whole thing wet now is I just come all the way along here and I need to get the whole bottle wet. Otherwise, I'll leave a line, and I want a line here so I don't have to go there. I'm just wetting this whole thing down with clear, fresh water. So now we start to see the edge of this bottle rotating around. And just for fun, I'm going to add a little bit of brown into that, or maybe black, because that's what I was doing first. I'm adding a little bit of black from my little Yarka pan. And I'm going to add a lot more yellow. And just so you know, I do not ever clean up my palette until I'm totally done with the painting. If I want to go back and paint, then I know exactly what my colors are like, and if I need to make more paint, I can easily match the color with the way I've put these two colors together. So it's a good idea to not clean up your palette until after you've finished with your painting. And there I am being sloppy again. If you kind of can dab it up, sometimes you can get it. Okay, so there we go. This is going to be part 2 of the bottles. Okay, I'm just looking at it and trying to decide if there's anything more I can or want to do here. Okay, so get ready for part 2.